Hey everybody, welcome back to Brown Thumb Nursery. I am Rob and I'm out here in my shade house getting ready to do it. Well, really just going to do a video. Just had some thoughts. I've been getting people saying that they're not getting success with their hydrangea cuttings, and I thought, you know what? Let's do a video talking about what you can do at home, not within a, in a shade house with, the mist system and with all the things that you would have at a nursery, but just what you could do at home. And what would you do if you really wanted to be successful and not have to wait 2 months and find out, oh, none of them made it, So first thing I'm going to say is it's like, well, by the time I post this Saturday, it's going to be, up into the later part of August. And so that's actually kind of pushing it for taking softwood cuttings, only because now they'll root really good. But the reason it's an issue is because you want them to get really, really rooted good. And I always like to have them potted up, if possible, before they go into winter and freeze good, because then coming out of dormancy, they'll have a better chance. So, but still it's worth doing because it's all a learning experience. If you get them to root this way and then they end up dying over winter, you'll know, well, yeah, I should have done it in June, July, early August, whatever. But anyhow, do it. Get out there this weekend. Get out there today. After this video's over, go ahead and get on out there and get some stuff going. And I'm going to show you what you're going to need. But the first thing you're going to need is, well, maybe, you want to, I'm just trying to think of all the different tips that would help. And one of the things is water it the night before. And then the next thing is do it early in the morning, because that way it's absorbed all the moisture through the night. Everything's nice and good and strong and everything. So it's the best time to take cuttings. Now I do it all day long. I do it whenever I get a chance. But this video is about, let's think of everything we can do to give ourselves the best, chances of success. So those are a couple things. Now, if you're like, man, it's Saturday morning, I just watched this video and I want to do it today. Well, get out there and just water it real quick. Do that right now. While you're still in your pajamas, go run out and stick the hose on it and let it soak while you're getting dressed. I don't know. But it'll just take a little bit to get it to start absorbing water. The night before would have been great. But then do it in the morning if possible. I'm just trying to think of all the different things you can think of. Okay, so now the next thing you're going to do, well, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to find yourself a hydrangea. And I've got this silver dollar hydrangea. I'm going to go ahead and use this as a thing. So now, if you watch my videos, hydrangeas can grow and be propagated from single node cuttings. Let me go ahead and just pop a cutting off here. Single node. Now that means each one of that's a node, that's a node, that's a node, you know what I'm saying? So I could have got several cuttings out of this. But okay, for a higher percentage of success, especially late in the season like this, you're going to want to take and use this whole thing as a cutting. Something about like that, 4 or 5 inches, something like that. And then go ahead and, trim these top leaves, trim these leaves back like that. And so you still have some vegetation up there. These will help with photosynthesis, and then also will help with the humidity. Or cutting them off will help them not get dehydrated. So anyhow, next little tip is take and scratch the cambium layer with your thumbnail like that, just down there around that first node. I wasn't showing you. See how it's getting kind of just scarred up a little bit there, just a little bit. All right, just do that a little bit. Don't go crazy. That's all you need to do. You could have taken your blade or something, anything. Just doesn't take much. It's softwood cuttings. They scratch really easy. So you go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and take a few of these cuttings real quick, and then we'll talk about the next tip. So, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and do 1, 2. I'm going to go ahead and do this one. I'm going to go ahead and prep them all as we go. Scratch that down there. Now that's a pretty big one. But it's only got 3 nodes, one here, here, and here. So we're trying to go big a little bit. So this is a little bit, you know, bigger than I normally would do. These definitely I would do as a single node cuttings on my normal method. And then here's the other half of that one. So strip some of them leaves off of there, down at the bottom, cut some of them. Now you see me cutting them off at the top because, man, that's so tender up there. I'll end up, if I try to pull them off, I'll end up breaking the top off. Another thing you want to look for as you're doing your cuttings, make sure, okay, so let's just compare. See this one right here? See how that's got flowering getting ready to bud out? Okay, so that's going to make a flower. See how that's got a big flower there? This is getting ready to do that same thing. This one here has no flowering coming in, and that's what we want. We don't want a flower. If we take, well, we will take this cutting. Let me just go ahead and do that. Let me go ahead and cut that back down to here so we can get 2 good cuttings. And I'm going to go ahead and cut that one off there, and then I'll deal with this one real quick. And you see how that's crooked there? That doesn't matter. We'll scratch that a little bit at the bottom, cambium down in there. When we put it in, we'll have it, obviously we'll have it standing upright, but that there will still root just fine. Okay, so then I'm going to go ahead and do this one here that's got the flowers. Okay, now, so what you want to do is you want to go ahead and get rid of all that flowering material. And I'm going to go ahead and, I want to leave this node here, so I'm going to leave that. But I'm going to go ahead and cut that off right there, and there's another little flower right there. Okay, so, and go ahead and cut them leaves back a little bit. And scratch that cambium layer. Okay, so cut off the flowers. That's a very important part. Okay, so I've got 6 cuttings there. That's enough to do our video. So I'm going to go ahead and set this plant aside. I'll probably take some more cuttings after we're done with the video, but I just want to get this kind of out of the way, and then bring in the next thing. So now the next thing you're going to want is like a gallon size pot, and it doesn't have to be exactly a gallon, but you're going to want to have something that you can put a humidity dome on. And I've got just a white, kind of a clear whitish Walmart bag, you know, Walmart, just a bag, and just something that's going to fit over top of that so that we can, so I'm going to basically put that there, and then I'm going to wrap tape around that, or a rubber band or something like that, whatever. I can probably just use tape because I know where some tape's at. So anyhow, get you about a gallon size, you know, about that size, something, whatever you can do to where a whatever bag you have is going to fit. Just get a matching set. Okay, so, and then get a go ahead and get your potting soil. Whatever kind of potting soil you've got laying around is going to be fine. Now you're like, oh no, I don't have time to run to the store to get potting soil. Surely you've got some kind of old dead plant laying around that's in a pot that's got some potting soil. It doesn't matter. I'm serious. This really doesn't matter. Unless it, okay, so unless that plant died from a disease or something, you know, don't worry about it. So if it did die from a disease, you know, maybe steer away from that soil. But if it just died because you didn't water it, or it was an annual and its life's over, whatever. You know what I'm saying? You got pots all around. But a lot of times those pots of old soil like that are going to be dry. So I will say this, if it is dry like that, dump all your pots of soil into like something where you can like water it and then knead it, like squish that water into it, because it'll be hydrophobic at that point where it won't absorb water. That's a bad thing. It will kill, it'll just absorb constantly out of the cutting. So you want that hydrated really good. That's a very important thing. So anyhow, have your soil hydrated. And then next tip is something I haven't been doing lately, and that is using a rooting hormone. Now I don't know where my rooting hormone is at the moment, but I've got some aloe vera plants over here. Let me just go cut a little leaf off of one. Okay, now, so this is one of those aloe plants. It's already been trimmed back. You can see it healed over like that. Ooh, whoops, it's dripping. Ooh, gooey, gooey, gooey. Okay, so now we're going to use this aloe juice, gel, whatever, as a rooting hormone. Now there's other things you can use if you don't, whoa, that's slimy. Ooh, I'm just going to stick that in there. Go ahead and get that to where you can see it. I'm going to stick that down in there, quite a ways in. And okay, I'm just going to do that. So you see that? I'm going to stick that in about that far. You see about how far I'm doing? Look how yummy that is. Stick that down in there. Now I've got 6 cuttings here. Now this is, oh, I didn't trim the leaves back on this one. We trim the leaves. Like that. Go ahead and get that. I'm just sticking it in as deep as I can get it. And this is going to be great, just fine rooting hormone here. Next one, do that same thing. Now if you have actual rooting hormone that's not aloe or whatever, you know, you can use, there's all different kind of rooting things you can use, aloe being one of them. I've heard of people using honey, weeping willow tree extract, bark, I've used that. So anyhow, just get you some kind of rooting hormone and get that in there. That's nice and gooey. That's going to be really good. All right, so now we've got all 6 of those in there. Look how nice that looks. I almost feel like I want to put one right down the middle. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Pick me one more. Give me one more cutting here. Nice size one. Strip back them leaves down at the bottom. And trim the leaves at the top. There we go. Use my rooting. Oh, scratch that cambium layer down there. We're doing all the extra stuff. I don't normally do all this stuff. And I have still pretty decent success. So anyhow, get that. Stick that right down there in the middle. Wow, that's easy. But man, we did all the extra stuff. Except for, this is something that's not extra to me, and that is fertilizer. And now, I use a fertilizer that is a slow release, and I use it for all my nursery stuff, a slow release fertilizer. So I'm just gonna aim you down there and kind of show you. Just gonna sprinkle it. I don't want it to get like locked in the leaves up in there, so I'm trying to do it down in the soil there. Okay, so the next thing is to water it really good. We're going to water it. It'll help dissolve that fertilizer and get everything just kind of settled in. It will settle the soil around the cuttings, and that'll be a good thing. So I'm going to go do that. Okay, so I've got it watered really good, and now I'm back, and now I'm getting ready to cover it up with the humidity dome. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take, well, first of all, I got a label, so I know what it is. Always remember what it is. But I'm going to put that label, and I got other things I'm just going to kind of put up there just to keep the plastic from poking down in, just kind of as little props to prop that plastic up. Okay, so I'm going to get this plastic pulled up over that and kind of wrap that around. Probably be just fine just tucking that right up underneath it. In fact, that's going to be perfect. You see how it just sits right on that? Just set it right down on there. So yeah, that is it. I mean, so now next thing is you want to keep it in the shade, not in the dark. I mean, outside, you know, or where it can get good light, but no direct sunlight. So I think I'll find a place underneath one of these benches. Well, in here is all pretty good because it's, you know, in the shade. But we'll just say, you know, underneath your deck, or, you know, you know of a spot. You know, I'm sure everybody's got a little spot that doesn't get any sunshine all day long. So that's what you want to look for. Whether it's underneath a shade tree, whatever, you know, think of a good place that doesn't get any direct sunlight, and then just put that. Got that nice and sealed. I'm going to just set that, or tuck that right up under there and set it on. I don't even need a rubber band or a or anything. So and then so basically just set it and forget it, kind of. Okay, so now you're going to want to actually come back and check, you know, maybe a couple days later, come back and check, make sure. You're going to start to see a little bit of little water droplets build up on that plastic because that humidity inside of there. If it's not, and you're not seeing any water droplets like forming, just go ahead and pull the plastic off and feel it. See if it feels damp in there. If it still feels good and damp, or if it still feels dried out, you're going to need to water it again. And just kind of keep an eye on it. Generally, I don't have to water them at all after I've done this. It's just once and then set it, and then it's good. This is a real hot season right now, so I guess there's a chance that, you know, maybe it'll dry out. So anyhow, just check it in a few days and then in a week and come back. But make sure when you're done, you go ahead and seal it back up really quick and keep that humidity in there really good. And then after, man, 6-8 weeks, you should have pretty good roots taken off. Now, I wouldn't disturb them too much. You'll be able to tell if you've got roots by if you've got growth on top of it as well. So, but if they've all turned black and all kind of shriveled up, then you know, well, they didn't work. But man, I'm thinking this is going to work if you do everything, because we basically pulled out all the stops. We're doing all the things to make this a success. So yeah, get out there, get your thumbs brown, find somebody's hydrangea that you can go sneak out and take some cuttings of, or if you've got one that you just want more of, get out there and do that. And I tell you what, I'd love to hear from you how it goes for you. I'm gonna try to remember to keep this pot here as a project to come back and look at and show an update, and we'll see if we have 100% success or 50% or whatever we got. So anyhow, that's it. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'll catch you on the south side. God bless.